Hopefully that's large enough to actually see. Let's see how big that is. Yeah, you can kind of see the game. Welcome Twitch chat. Working on a Metroidvania. Full-time indie dev. Not using Unity. And ask me anything. Alright. I think I'm to a point where I want to start like working on some of this like usability. Like the trajectory, just making some of this look a little bit better. Alright. Let me do a little bit of refactoring, like review what I have so far. Let me know if the volume is too loud for the background music or if it sounds good. Alright, set our defaults, load the level if needed. We do our calc for the game, render the game, calc the level editor, render level editor, and then render my debug. Okay. New game. So it takes into consideration the last checkpoint, which is fine. I think I'm okay with that. I have a max launch power elasticity. All that's good. Reinitialize the audio. Still playing around with zoom. I think I deemed 2.0 way too big. Yeah, a zoom of 2 is a bit much. Alright, so render debug. Train, all that. It's so blood red. Let's make that a little bit lighter. I'm going to just make them borders. Yeah, the borders look a lot nicer. And this is the player location. Yeah, that looks good. Again, just trying to clean some of this up. Okay, I think that looks good. We have our collision maps. Let's make this sizing, make this a little bit smaller. Yeah, that's nicer. And that makes this don't need to be as large for this one. Okay, yeah, I think that looks good. So I got all that information on there. Let me tweet to the social medias. Coding a Metroidvania. Live on Twitch. Come hang out. Twitch.tv/Rajan. Hashtag Ruby. Hashtag Game Dev. Tweet that, and then same thing on ruby.social. Back to the codings. I've done the social medias. Alright, so that looks good. I don't need the label around the mouse anymore. Checkpoints. Checkpoint rendering. Need to clean that up. Terrain is. Let's go and make that a white color. Actually, that blue-green looks really pretty. All right. And then checkpoints, I'll make just a straight green for now. Yep. And then for the terrain or for the lava stuff, that can be red. Render terrain boxes. Let's go and put that in there. Maybe I don't want to render it every time. Alright, so now I can just return. But I don't want to render the terrain boxes. Render debug. What am I rendering here? Just for the point. Just call it render player data. Render debug for the player. Makes it more obvious. Right. So what I want to fix is this trajectory. It doesn't give me what I expect. Like, it's just too. It doesn't communicate well. So render game. What does render game have in it? Yeah, so let me clean this up so I know what's going on here. trajectory. That's the rendering of the trajectory. We have a render map. Do I need to set this? I don't think I need that. Yeah. That was just kind of like an outline of the map, which I don't believe I need. Let me see what it looks like. Yeah, I don't need that. Alright, so render terrain boxes. That's the render of the map. Render trajectory. Render player. And then this is that weird outline that I'm getting right now. Yeah, that's fine. I can stay that, and then this will be the actual scene itself. Yep, and then render final scene. So that cleans that up. Yeah, and now I need to get, so I've got like the trajectory, which is good. I just want to get these like aim reticles, or just they're not what I want them to be. So if I did something like we'll create a function for that. So I'm not having to put scene everywhere. So what if I did something like this? X equals player render box dot x plus player render box dot width, half the width, player render box set the height, not height. One day I'll break that habit. Width, let's set that to 10, and height is 10, height is 10, and path is pixel, and I want this to be R0, G is 255, B is 255. I really like that blue color. It's a little large. If I set it to 5, 6, subtract 3. So how about that instead of the aim reticle? So if I remove this, So let's say I have 4 of these. So this will be square 1. Square for launch power 0 to 1. Launch power 2. I think my max launch power is 4. Yeah, max launch power is 4. So we'll have 4 of these. Hello newcomers, welcome to the stream. Happy to answer any questions y'all might have. And I want to do what? So that's center. So let's see, center X is equal to this. So that's center X. And I don't want it to be, center S minus 3 will put it off center, right? And then I want to subtract 6 from that. I think. Do I need to subtract 3? We should do subtract 6. So if I subtract 6, that puts me there. And then here it would be center X nothing. And then center X plus 6. And then one more would be plus 6 plus 6. Right. So this is definitely not. So this should be minus 6. But see, that leaves a space. Right. So subtract 3 from each one of these. So my center X would be, we'll just leave it at that. Alright. Let's bring the game into the main screen. Right, so this is not correct because of the there's four boxes. Center is smack dab there. I want to subtract 6 and 6 for the first box. I'm going to subtract 6 for that. Next box would be right at the center. And I think that makes sense. So like if I set the alpha to like 128, or like let me just put these in borders. Let me see if this gives me the. Yep, I think that's good. So you've got 4 little dots in there. I'm wondering if that'll be enough of an indication, though. Let's see. So I want it to be a border or sprite. So if state.player.launch launch power is less than 1, so if the launch power is less than 1, this will always be a sprite because, okay, wait. If it's 0, then it'll be that. Launch power is less than. What do I want to say here? So if it's less than 1, Then I want it to be a sprite. I'm going to retain the border always. And if it's less than 1, then I want the alpha to be 255 divided by state.player.launchPower. Multiplied by. So that'll give me an alpha value, right? I like that. Otherwise, the alpha value will be 100%. Okay, so that's for that, for launch power 0 to 1. So this is launch power 2. With the border there, and then I want to say there's probably some better mathematical application to this where I'm not copying and pasting. So if it's greater than 1.0 and less than 2.0, and then here I want it to be 100%. State.player.launchPower is greater than 2.0. Really? Just like close the file out? Really? .674 less than 2.0. Got a couple of people watching. Again, more than happy to answer any questions if you all have any. Yeah. Alright, so if it's greater than 1 and less than 2.0, then the alpha value will be, I'm going to take state.player.launchPower -1. Yeah, this is horribly repetitive. So get aiming reticle alpha, start range, end range, get aiming reticle alpha. I'm going to call this partition. Yeah, start range, end range. That's perfect. And then current power. All right, and that'll give me the alpha percentage that I want. I believe so. Probably set the opacity to this a little bit lighter, since I'm like looking at it right there. All right, so get aiming reticle. I want to say return 0 if current power is less than start range, right? Return 255 if current power is greater than end range. Otherwise, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Current power minus start range. Right, so alpha 0 would be that. Alpha 1. Right. Alpha 0 would be that. Alpha 255 would be the rest. So the end range would be wait, alpha 0 alpha percentage. I want to get the current power. I want to divide that by the end range minus start range. I think that will give me the power. That'll give me the value that I need. So if I just set this to aiming reticle alpha 0, 1, and then player dot launch power, and just simply set it to that. Let's see if that gives me that gives me what I want. Yep, so that's 1.0. So then 2.0 will be the same thing. Yep, so I want to set all the borders. These are all the borders. And I'm fine, yep, with kind of ordering it like this. That's the next border, and then this will be the sprite. Paste that. And then this range would be 1 to 2. Yeah, that works nicely. That's pretty. So launch power 3 would be this value. And then same deal here, the sprite would be and then here it would be instead of 1 to 2, it'll be 2 to 3. What syntax error are you talking about? I don't have any syntax error problems. I do? Do I still have syntax errors? Nope. So the syntax error is in here. Yep, there it is. Yep, that looks good. I still need my actual reticle itself. Yeah, I probably want to redo that also. That's my trajectory. And that's my launch power. And then launch power 4, same as 3. Y'all are quiet. A bunch of lurkers, I guess. right? And that's our 3, 3 to 4. Yes, the power location, the power looks good. The trajectory looks a little nicer. What do I want the trajectory to look like? What do I want the trajectory to look like? What's the aim reticle style? Style's not that great anymore. Man, I really like that color. Launch power times 100. Yeah, so I don't need this anymore. I just want the vector x and vector y multiplied by 16. Apparently not. Oh, multiplied by 16, not. Right. What? Fine. Syntax error. Alright, so that's 16 pixels out. What if I do just like 64 pixels out? How does that look? That looks nice. I can add a little bit more juice there. So if I remove the trajectory, the actual rendering of the trajectory, so is this enough information? Oh, that's actually not terrible. Right, so you're like 2, just a little bit under, and you almost don't need the trajectory anymore. Maybe maybe having the angle information in there. Maybe put the angle in there. Aiming reticle. If y'all have any ideas, I'm definitely open to ideas. To said ideas. So if I set the X and Y, and we'll set the text to just 0.0 for now. And yeah, that same pretty color. Alignment enum. Vertical alignment enum. And the aiming reticle. I don't need to subtract by 2. There we go. That looks nice. Size Xenon, maybe at a -2. -5. I like that. And then maybe 70. Maybe 80. 96. Yeah, 64 is fine. It's like I want it to be just a little bit higher. So maybe 68 on each one of those values. So this is weird. Like, let's keep it 64 for now. And then I want this to be player dot launch angle. Right, so you got a nice little launch angle. And then maybe this aiming reticle ends up being just like a point or a line of sorts. Hi, we are watching with my niece, and she's asking how long is your usual game development. That's a good question. Usually, I want to have a commercially sellable, viable product within 3 months time, working part-time. So 3 months, 20 hours a week. So 20 times 4 is, I can't math, 80? Yeah, there we go. 80 times 3 is 240. So 240 dev hours is, by 240 dev hours, I want to have something that I can monetize. So the monetization might actually be free with the follow-up DLC that's like a few bucks, right? But I want something that is compelling enough to be sold within 240 dev hours. It's kind of how I approach it, and then from there I kind of see how well it does. Yep, and it doesn't have to be a lot. Like one of my games is it was a racing game, and my racing game only had one track. I got one track working, and that was ready to sell. And so then with regards to like, what about past that time? Well, now I know like I can create a track in some arbitrary amount of time, and extend the game development for that specific game if I'm getting interest. Right? So for like this specific game, maybe I only have, so if I look at the actual map itself, this map is like 6400 by 6400. So maybe the first iteration of this game, I only let you explore like a part of the map, and then it's a Metroidvania, right? So maybe there's an ability that you have to gain to explore the rest of the map, and that would be my call to action, right? So it would be free to start. You play enough of the game to get a feel for the storyline, the mechanics, and then you hit that hard stop then saying, okay, you've reached the end of the demo. Now to unlock the full game, it's a certain amount of money, right? And for that, yeah, and like with this approach, like as an indie dev, you don't have the luxury. You can't spend. I hate it. It kills me when I see like those Reddit posts that say, after 3 years of development, I finally released my game. It's like, don't be that person. Like, as an indie, you can't afford to do that. You simply can't. You have to vet. You have to vet an idea quickly. You have to throw it into the market, target a very specific niche, and um, and see if it makes a splash. And if it doesn't, then you pivot. Right? You figure out what didn't work, what worked. Take those artifacts and use that for your next game. But we don't have the luxury to spend a lot of time, so you have to be quick. You have to be quick on your monetization. You have to be quick on your release. If it's a hobby project, spend all the time you want in the world, right? But if you're trying to make a commercial commercial game as like a really small team, you gotta have monetization in mind. Yeah, she's laughing at it, and that's the thing is like it can take years. So like one of my games was called A Noble Circle. The first release I had out in 3 weeks' time, and it was chapter one. And the development of that game took a little bit over 18 months, but I developed it live, right? So I released the first chapter. I had some developer commentary. I got a few downloads. Maybe the price. I think the price at that time I just made it free. And when chapter one was added, I kept it free. And like around chapter 2 and 3 is when I started charging for it. And then with each new chapter, I increased the price a little bit. But the entire development process of that game did take 18 months. But the initial release and the initial point where I can ask for money was much sooner. You have to do it that way. You just have to. If you're going for commercial products, right? If it's hobby stuff, labor of love, spend all the time in the world. At that point, the money is not a motivating factor. But yeah, I gotta make money. I love building games, and it's something that I much prefer doing over than writing line of business applications. So I have to keep that monetary aspect in mind when I'm building this stuff. Thanks for that. I'll let you get back to hacking. Yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about this stuff. And you're not bothering me at all. Don't feel like you're bothering me. I like these segues. It lets my subconscious try to think of ideas and stuff. So it's not a bother at all. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. All right. Yeah. So there's the degrees. So I think that helps. That also that works. And I think that might be enough information. So if I'm here, what is the Unicode for degrees? Unicode character degree. Copy that. Let's see if that renders nicely. Yep. So there's my degree value. So 66 degrees. Under 2 power. That wasn't enough. And maybe on game over. On game over, maybe I don't set the launch angle back to 45. So that way, like I was at 66 degrees, okay, I'm gonna do a hair over 2. Why am I still setting it back to 45? What the deuce? The deuce? Alright, so if I'm at 66 degrees... Hugog, tell me, like, what kind of development do you do? Like, do you do a little bit of game development? Is it hobby development? What's your story? So 60 degrees. So on death, I don't want to reset to 45 degrees. It's weird that it did that. Alright, so if I set this, so it's 45 degrees, I set it to 63. And when I die, it should stay 63, but it goes back to 45. Why? No gift development, MetaRuby Conf in December. Awesome. Ah, yes. Our friend Rob. That was a great conference. I really enjoyed it. Alright, so launch angle is set. We set the launch power. I don't ever set the launch angle back to 45, so it's weird that it's resetting on death. Do I set it to nil? Launch at... Yeah, I never set it to nil. Yeah, Ruby community is very welcoming. It really is. I just want that culture and that facet of Ruby to be more than just Rails development. Like, that's boring. Let's do stuff like game dev. Right? So I'll set it to that. Launch angle is nil. Why is launch angle nil? So let's just... Oh, it's player.launch angle. I'm dumb. State.player.launch angle. So when new game gets hit, so it is 68. Ah, right here. I'm not setting the launch angle. It gets nilled out right there. There you go. So I reinitialize it. So you said you work on game development part-time 20 hours. Is the other half of work week spent developing DragonRuby? No, so I've got multiple properties. So Darkroom is on iOS and Android and a Nintendo Switch. So one of my irons in the fire is to do a port of that to Steam. So if I'm not working on a new game, which is like that, a new property or something in pre-production, which is that 20-hour week, I'm porting a Darkroom to Steam. And now I've got the pre-sequel that's only on iOS, so I need to get that on Android, Switch, and Steam. So that's additional work, capitalizing on the revenue that I've already gotten. I've got another game that's in development, or past development, is my racing game, called A Car That Turns. And I've got 4 maps on there. I'm working on a 5th map. So that's just kind of art and adding the collision and stuff. Those are like just incremental updates. Just kind of catering to my niche audiences. Mildly Interesting RTS is another game. It's only on iOS. I want to get that on Android for sure, and then explore what it looks like on Steam, Steam Deck. It's a portrait game, so it's kind of... I don't know if it's going to work well on like a landscape device, but those are the things that I do when I'm not doing new development. And yeah, and I dog food this stuff, so as I'm building these properties, things get pulled into DragonRuby as needed. So, unfortunately, way more than full-time work at times. But I enjoy it. Like, I really do enjoy it. I usually do like three heavy weeks and then 1 week off. So I'll do like, yeah, 3 60-hour weeks, and then 1 week I won't do anything, just kind of rest, and then pick that back up. I think that flow usually works well for me. And sometimes I do contract work, like if I'm in between games, to save for retirement and all that stuff. You need contract work to do that. You gotta have the 401k or the Roth, health insurance, kind of subsidize that. All right, so I think the angle's good. I like that. Yeah, it's a good balance. Game dev isn't all glamorous, unfortunately, right? It's like, oh, I got to do this port, or I've got to do device updates for new devices. So it's not always like new, cool, creative development all the time. But I try to have a good window of time where I'm doing things like this, thinking of new ideas. And ideas come and go. Sometimes it's like I don't have any ideas, so then it's making sure that I'm maximizing the current properties I do have. All right, so I think the power is good. The trajectory stays there, which is also good. So like if I'm over here, I can say to 82 degrees and then 3 power. Perfect. And then I'll say like 62 degrees, a hair over 2. So see, that was too much, which is fine. So maybe I'll do 67 degrees and a hair over 2. That's a little bit too much, too little. So maybe 62 degrees, 67, and almost 3. All right, a little bit over 3. All right, so I think I need to partition these boxes a bit more. A 0 to 1 partition doesn't seem to be enough. So I might have to do like 0.5. See, and now I want to generalize this again. Hadamir just picked up DragonRuby today. Really cool stuff. You all have built. Welcome. Welcome to sanity and joy. If you have any questions about the engine, more than happy to answer them. But be sure to join the Discord community. We've got a really great community. All right, so my partitions are... So I have 4 partitions. Let me set my partitions to 8. So I want 8 partitions, and I want to do scene.primitives. And I'm going to do partitions .map with index. And let me see if I can get the borders actually looking correct. How'd you find out about DragonRuby, Zalea? Obviously I'm interested. Very interested in in that aspect. So minus partitions over 2 plus I. Huh? And then multiply that by 6. This will totally work. This will totally not work. I'm just like, did that work? Primitive marker. Let's make that a border. So I got the partitions, which is good, but it's too far over. Partitions divided by 2 times 6. Because I want I want half the partitions, and that should be correct, right? What if I just do? Wait. I want partitions divided by 2 times 6 plus I times 6. There we go. Okay, that looks good. And then my partition ranges will be what? So this will be my primitives. Yeah, super interested in how you found out about DragonRuby, what engines you've used in the past. Path and Pixel. Work for a company that does a lot of Rails. There's a lot of investment going into React Native for mobile. Not a big fan personally. Was searching around if there was a way to make native apps with Ruby. Found Ruby Motion and then DragonRuby. Yep. React Native and Flutter. Here's the thing. And you know, with building Ruby Motion, I get asked that question a lot. It's like, why would I choose Ruby Motion over React Native or Flutter? And it really comes down to, if you're an employee and you want to be gainfully employed at some employer, regardless, and don't care about this explicit success of an application, choose React Native or Flutter, right? Pad your resume. It's a marketable skill, and whether it works or not, it doesn't matter, because you're using something that recruiters are after. Now, if you're a business that lives and dies by their app working, like, it's got to work. I can't throw again, this idea of like being an indie dev. I can't throw bodies and money at a problem. It has to work. The solutions that I put out there have to work. If they don't work, then you know I can't throw money at the problem, right? So if you want to be gainfully employed at some employer, whether it works or not, choose React Native and Flutter. If you want to build an app that will work, that will actually work, choose Ruby Motion, right? And that's kind of how I communicate it. Yeah, that's kind of how I communicate it. I wish there was an objective evaluation to frameworks that we use. Unfortunately, there isn't. There's kind of an emotional aspect to it, and the emotional aspect is everyone uses React Native, therefore React Native, and React Native doesn't work. Like, the value prop of React Native with it being cross-platform, it's not true. It just isn't. You can really tell when something is native versus layers and layers of web stuff. Understandable from a business perspective, but not so much complexity as well. That and the assumption when I look at React Native or Flutter or any of these cross-platform tools, I expect to write once and have it work in both places, and that's just not the case. A lot of the frameworks out there, they're specific for iOS and they work well on iOS, but Android, it just doesn't work. So you put in all this effort to build this application, and then you try releasing to Android, and you got to do all this customization. It's like, what was the point? What was the point of doing all this? So it just kills me. But I mean, that's just kind of like, that's unfortunately like the status quo. Or that's the expectation. People don't care. They're just like, React Native. React Native says that it does these things, and they take it at face value, and only after rubber hits the road do they find that it doesn't do what it says on the box. And large companies can afford to throw more bodies at it, so we just fix it, right? We just work around it, but can't afford to do that as a small company. So that's my rant around React Native and Flutter. Okay, so my partitions, I want my partitions to be start and end. So start range will be the partition will be the player dot max launch power divided by the partition multiplied by I, and then the end range will be I plus 1. So hopefully that gives me the granularity that I want. Look at that. So a bit more granularity in the charge up, which is good. And then like 83. Delineators, I could probably make them, because it's hard to tell like the whole numbers, so maybe every other one. So the color I would want it as maybe 128 for each subsequent one. So what do I want to say? What's it called? Offset? It's not offset, where it's like every other value. I forget the name. We'll just say color addition is equal to 0, and then if I dot even alternate. Thank you. Alternate color. I can't word. If I is even, then alternate color is equal to 128. So 128 plus alternate color. Alternate color, that was it. Right, so we've got a lighter. Maybe. What does it look like if I do like a little bit of blue versus green? So let's say I'll call this I'll actually set this completely to a value. So R will be 0, G will be 255, and B will be 255. Otherwise, the alternate color would be 128 and 128. And then here will just be alternate color like that. Just merge that in. Okay, that looks good. So I can just call this color now. But thank you for the word. I was like, what is that word? From game dev side, played around just as a hobby for years, but get frustrated spending so much time getting things set up, and I was never interested in a huge 3D engine with all its baggage. When I saw DevTech Arcs, and I knew I had to try it. Yep. 3D. That's quite a endeavor to take on by yourself, like as a small team. There's an immense amount of complexity involved to make a large 3D game that's highly polished in a short amount of time that you can quickly monetize as an indie. That's tough. That's very tough. And some people pull it off, and I don't know how they do it, but it's not something that I'd attempt. Yeah, so maybe just a color like that. I have to play around with it. But yeah, the idea of, so you get some delineation of whether it's which value you're actually pulling in. Okay, so I've got the meter, that's good. The angle trajectory, I don't like that just being a single dot. Maybe I should actually make that into multiple lines. Right, so I have my aim reticle, and maybe do 8 dot times dot map with index. Do I times 8. I times 8. Yeah, 3D's tough, and then yeah, 2D game engines, just trying to get a sprite on the screen. It's complicated, even for like, you would expect like real simple engines, but it's really complicated. You're just like, why is this so hard? It shouldn't be this hard. But it always is. And it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be that hard. I times 8. Come on. My Vimfu is not working. There we go. And then I want to add 16 regardless. There we go. Let's change that to 32 and only 6 markers. 7 markers. 32 and 16. 24. Like, this live reload, I mean, engine should have this. It's just nice. Alright, so I've got my aim reticle, Let's change this to 88. A few pixels out. 84. That looks good. So what do you think of this? So I've got this like charge meter here. What if these squares just lit up instead of having this extra piece here? Would that be too confusing? Be less information on the screen, yeah. Yeah, I think I like that idea too. So if I change this to primitives, primitive marker, seems to do more power in that direction, yeah, I agree. And I'll just co-opt this idea. That looks good. Let's set the size to 6. To give it the same size. I like that. Yeah, that looks nice, actually. That's the partition count. Set this to 16. The alignment of the text is still kind of off for some reason. X and Y. I'll figure that out in a second. All right. So we have that, and then I'll take the start range and end range, like I was doing. And then I want the color. Color, and then set the path equal to pixel. Args.layout. I'm rendering a row 0, column 0, width 4, height 2. And it's not fully on the edge. Yes, and that's by design. So the reason that it's not fully on the edge, there's a so like on your iOS device. Let me bring up a game. So like, let me see if you can actually see that. Right. So here's your game. And you notice this little bar here? That's your chin thing that allows you to like change an application. And if your row and columns are right against the edge, your input, your touch input, will actually conflict with that edge marker. So row 0 and column 0 explicitly have a gutter around the edge that moves it above that barred area. Android has a similar like dead space kind of facet to it, so that's why args.layout.rect does what it does. Another thing is that the positioning of the pixel values are all powers of 2, so your width and height of the grid values are all powers of 2. So scaling looks good, and the margin and padding is implicit, so you get that automatically around the gutter and then each one of the values. So it's not like a table. It's not a table layout. It's like a layout. It's like a cell-based layout with paddings and margins. But that's why it's like that. So one of those like hard lessons learned. These subtle gotchas is what is a thing. Oh yeah, that's much better. That's absolutely freaking beautiful. Alright, so that's not aligned correctly. Let's figure out why that's the case. So X and Y should be the player's X, player renderbox.x, player renderbox. Why is that off the way it is? Six pixels for each one of those, that's fine. But the label looks weird. So if I just set the... Alright, what if I just... I'm going to set the X value to be +8 and the Y value to be just the Y value. So that was... I guess the degree sign is pushing it off center. Huh. So if I get rid of the degree sign, is it at center? Yeah. That's interesting. So I want the alignment to not include the degree sign. That's kind of annoying. I'm okay with that. Let's remove the degree sign for now. That looks nice. Right, so 3 is that wasn't enough. So 137. Where did that random aiming reticle come from? Alright, let me clean this method up. I think this is a good commit point. Zero center X. What am I doing for this? I have no idea what this is. What is that? Alright, let's move this back onto the secondary screen. I can see, so I can see what each one of these things are. Okay, that's not needed. The aim reticle. Are those values? That looks good. I don't need the pixel value there. But Zal, does that Zalocate, does that make sense as to why args.layout is the way it is? Awesome. All right. So 69 max power. So if I go back to 69, but 2 power, nope, that's not enough. I'm wondering if it's better to just have like different colors. So like just a gradient. But anyways, I like the aesthetics of this regardless. Wish that degree sign didn't put it off center. That's kind of annoying. Alright. This looks good. So I'll say aim reticle looks good. What kind of games are y'all trying to make? Any game ideas? Curious, what's your thoughts on a newcomer should go about learning DR? Drifted first to the API docs, but it seems like working through the samples might be what's intended. Yes, absolutely working through the samples. Samples are ordered by increasing complexity. So the first samples are super simple, and then there's samples that are like 99_genre, and those are your like reference implementations. So, and that's why I was asking, like, what kind of game are you trying to build? And if there's like a specific type of game that you're trying to build, I might be able to point you to some sample apps that will help speed up that process. Alright, so let's get our terrain boxes back on there. So those are terrain elements for our checkpoints and everything. Yeah, I've got sample apps for like top-down RPGs, twin-stick shooters, platformers. There's a ton of samples, and if there's like a specific type of game, like I want to build an XYZ game, I can most likely point you to a sample app. Yeah, this is good. I like how the reticle looks. Alright, so now I want to get mouse aiming working too. Alright. Input/player. So if can aim. So this is if space is used. If inputs.mouse. What are my mouse docs? Let me go to my docs. Alright, so mouse, I have click, I have click and up. Ever played a game called Reciteer? Been waiting to play around with it. I gotta Google this. I haven't. All right, so there's a sample app for turn-based RPG, I believe. Yep. So I would go to 99_genre_RPG_turn-based, and in there there's a sample app that kind of uses layouts quite a bit to help with like these menu systems. So I think that would be a really good thing to look at. There's also a sample app that shows you how to wrap label text, and that would be an important one to look at too. So I think from like a visual standpoint, those two sample apps will give you the facilities needed to actually like render things to the screen. Outside of that, your game logic is kind of up to you how you want to expand on that. I use a lot of value types and data oriented things, and then functions that operate on that data. But if you want to take a class oriented approach, especially if you have experience with Rails, that might come more naturally to you, then the rest of your game can be class based. But I think the turn-based RPG sample app will be good, and then there's a sample app that shows how to wrap labels. And I think those two things combined will get you in a pretty good point for at least interacting with the UI elements. Played Dark Room yesterday and got inspired to implement some of the core stuff with just UI and text. I hope you like the game. Lots of love went into that. But yeah, it's amazing what text can do. You don't need graphics all the time. Say mouse. Alright, down and up is good. Always get sucked into implementing fancy sprite animations when don't have the game logic yet. Best tip I can give there is 20 seconds. So your fall off rate as an indie dev, if you don't have any notoriety, a player will give you 20 seconds before they decide whether to quit your game or continue playing. So you have 20 seconds from the point of where they open your application. So that means selecting start game, start new game, selecting a save file, like all of that is part of that 20-second experience. And that's what I kind of push for that like minimal viable like experience, is that you want to get the hook within 20 seconds. If your hook is beautiful art, then your emphasis will be on sprite animations. If your hook is, like you're talking about haggling or those facets of the system, you want to get the player haggling in 20 seconds. Like, do a Price is Right kind of thing, and present them with like a game over screen if they screw it up. And then after that 20-second experience, you can expand the complexity of the game. Bring in like a menu system. Like if they come back to the game again the second time, then you can like present them a menu, give them options. But your first 20 seconds is do or die. You have 20 seconds to capture their interest. For my game, you're in this position. There's a kill spot here, and there's an obvious place where you want to go, right? So you press space, you let go, and of course I do it perfectly that time. But you might say, you might go like that and charge it up. You hit, and then you hit the wall. So you're like, okay, that's my goal, is to get through that hole. And so that's the hook, right? If I can compel them to keep retrying the game until they get past that area in the bottom, that's how I capture those first 20 seconds from them. But gotta catch a fly. Look forward to starting later. Yep. You're welcome. Have a good night. Have a good night. So the continuation of the hook is like, okay, well, now I want to get working on this next part, right? And then narrative elements will start coming here. Maybe some new power-ups that help you see the trajectory of the ball. Everything's like that. $20 seconds. That's all you got. $2.5 is too much. $2 is too little. Perfect. Cool. All right, so click and mouse stuff. All right. So let's say so if they click, I want to say state dot mouse down is equal to x equals inputs dot mouse dot x. So I have my x and y position, and then on mouse up I also have my position. So based off of that I can get the launch angle. So angle is going to be player.launch at. I'll set it equal to I'll set the launch power to 4 for now. Then I need to set the launch angle. So player.launch angle is equal to what? Take care, Hugo. Thanks for hanging out. So start position, end position. So I want geometry dot angle from, and then I actually want to set I always want to set the mouse up position to set the angle, but let's get this working and then I'll get the live update working. State dot mouse up and then state dot mouse down. So let's see if that gives me the correct launch angle. Wrong way. Cool. That's correct. So on floor equals false. There's duplication there. I need to fix that. And I'm going to always update the launch angle if inputs dot mouse down. So if mouse down is applied, I always want to set the launch angle. What? Nani? Alright, if state.mouse down. There we go. Whoa! And then new game. And then state.mouse up equals null. New game. And then mouse power will be the distance. I'm going to clean that up. I need to do the rendering of this. How do I want to render this? I'll just do a line for now. X is equal to state dot mouse underscore down dot x. Y is that. X2 will be state dot mouse underscore up dot x. Y2 will be that. RZ R0 G255 B255. Do I want to move the screen if they're using mouse to aim? I don't know. Alright, another thing is mouse up. I only want to set mouse up if the distance between mouse down and mouse up is like greater than 80 or something. Distance is equal to geometry.distance state dot mouse down inputs dot mouse, and let me put out that distance. Yeah, 80 is a good number. Distance is greater than 80. Else also want that value to be nil. And then if state.mouse up then here, well, actually, I always want to have the line. Well, let's see without the line first. Maybe 40. Yeah, maybe 40. Because my zoom factor is 2, so 40 makes sense. Alright. So, distance is 40 pixels, given my zoom. Zoom, where's my zoom? Yep. For touch devices, 80 pixels is a nice magic number. And I guess I still want to render the line regardless, huh? Maybe? Inputs.mouse. And then if, say, maybe if distance is less than say distance threshold. I'm going to clean this up, but I kind of want to get it working first. And then do the cleanup once I get the usability in place, or once I get the feel of it. And the alpha property here would be like maybe low alpha value. Yep, so low alpha value. Maybe I just center it around the circle. How does desert golfing do it? Let me check desert golfing real quick. Golfing on Mars. App Store. Great game, by the way. Golfing on Mars. Golf on Mars. So the way they do it yeah, they have it set where you touch, but they don't move the camera around. Maybe I shouldn't move the camera around. So if I do target calc camera offset, I only want to set these specific values for target camera offset X and Y if they're not using mouse positions, maybe. Maybe that'll help with the disorientation. Disorientation, is that even a word? So I don't want to set it to 0. I just don't want it to change if the mouse point is down. Alright, so if they're there, yeah. That feels way better. And then the launch angle. That feels good. Set that 2i. I'm gonna have to make notes about some of this usability stuff. So if they're using the keyboard, it's fine to shift around. But if they're using the mouse, maybe 30 pixels instead of 40. Swipe gestures, you generally want to stay around 60 pixels or 80 pixels. Alright, so now I'm going to set the distance, or the power based on that. So same duplication here. Again, I need to reason through that duplication, but let's get it working first. Mouse up equals now. Mouse up and down equals now. Alright, so you set the value. I also wanted to lerp to that specific location instead of like just clamping to it, so there'll be some usability things, and then the power will be based on the distance. Power. Distance minus threshold. Yeah, that's a bit too sensitive. I'm going to set that to 2i and then maybe divide this by 10. Divided by 100. Let's see. Probably 50. 50 feels good. And then I want to set the launch power here the same way. Yeah, this like stutter, I'm gonna get that working a little bit better. Alright, and I want a concept of target launch power. So launch power is my current. Alright, that looks good. Oh, not launch power, launch angle. Target launch angle. Yeah, that's... I named it correctly there. So input player. D angle is equal to state dot player dot target launch angle minus player dot launch angle player dot launch angle plus equals 50% of that. It's kind of like lerp to that location. And so when I use left and right, I'm actually setting the target launch angle. Right, so if I increase this by 10, yeah, see how it like lerps the location? That's freaking beautiful. God, that's sexy. Right, so you're not there. There we go. Maybe maybe 10% of the value. God, that looks nice. Right, so then after launch, perfect. It almost makes me want to it almost makes like holding the space button kind of unfair. Like you don't get the same right, because you have really good control over here. So maybe just up and down instead of space. I'll keep space in there. Let me try that. Inputs dot keyboard dot key down dot enter. That'll be your shoot. And then inputs dot launch power plus equal state player dot launch power plus equal inputs dot up down times 0.1. .01. Yeah, that's nice. So you can use space if you want. Why would you even want to use space at that point? What? What is that? That's hilarious. Look at it go. That's hilarious. I'm going to do the same thing with the target launch angle. Make sure that it's modded by target launch angle. It's also modded by 360. Yeah, I'll figure out that deficiency later. That math is always annoying. This feels good though. Few lurkers in here. What do y'all think? Looks good? Feels good? Looks horrible. Yeah, I almost want to just get rid of space altogether. You increase the power like this. I'm going to clamp the power. I'm sure I clamp it at some other point. No, that's the only clamp that I do, huh? Alright. There's your launch power. I hate that there's a number there. It almost feels better if there was like... Number's fine. But almost like a compass where there's like a bright area. I'm fine with this though. Alright, so let's bring the trajectory back. Why isn't the trajectory image showing? Alright, how does trajectory image works? Is aiming. How is aiming set? Well, they're aiming if they're on the floor. If player dot on floor. Some of these state variables I need to clean up also. That is very pretty. Scale rect. Beautiful. I'm really liking the aesthetics of this. Right, so this will be your superpower, where you get the actual like launch points. Almost makes it too easy. All right, this is a good point. So aiming, what's the word that I'm looking for? Doctoring, polish, aiming UI, kind of specced out, added mouse aim also. Okay, I do want to clean up. Like everywhere I'm doing state.player. Can just be player. Yep, nope, sees that. Here I have to do state.player. Set the power. Key down dot space. Beautiful. It's a little too slow on the up and down. Maybe by 0.25 increments. Yeah, that feels better. I can do after images and things like that. Just pretty that up a bit more. This is very pleasant. All right, I think that's a good stopping point. Mouse aiming works too. Yeah, that's a good stopping point for tonight. I think I'm to a point where I need to work on like storyline elements. Maybe think about what the map needs to look like moving forward. Probably worth trying on mobile too, just to make sure it works nice on mobile. But yeah, I think that's a good stopping point. Alright, it was fun hanging out. We got some UI elements in place, touch input, kind of pretty things up. Hope you enjoyed. And probably stream tomorrow too. We'll see how it goes. See how I feel tomorrow, but I might stream tomorrow. I'll see y'all then. Have a good one. Take care.